Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We have EZA Future Gohan's first test, and that is going to be against Red Zone Omega Shenron. Now of course, a big part of his kit right now, now that we're in base, is currently locked off, because of course we do need to drop down to 70% HP or less before he does get his 58% damage reduction before he transforms. Luckily enough for us, in slot 2, there are no attacks. He can just do some free damage. We've already got our Trunks ally next to us with the LRG and Trunks. As I said, they have a very good slot 1 unit next to them. And he also goes on a very good category. Like, I know the Fizz Ultimate Gohan does get a lot of shtick. Understandably, you know why. But there's some very good units that can go on his team. Some very good units. And some of them haven't even made the cut today, we'll put it that way. Of course, we are getting that 150 at the start of turn, the 50% attack and defense on Super, and the 50% attack and defense raise on Super as well, while all the Bond of Master Disciple category allies are currently getting the support of Ki +2 and attack and defense plus 50%. We do also have, because of the Trunks ally being on the same turn as him, we do have the 50% chance of guarding. Which, actually, I shouldn't have done that. I was meant to have the Gammas on this rotation. It doesn't matter. We're fine. But I was meant to have the Gammas on that rotation. But yeah, we do have that 50% chance of guarding, which of course, hopefully will pop more often than not. Which then we will lose out on once he does transform, which will happen from turn 4. I actually really do like his transformation conditions. 58% HP or more is very good. A lot of the transformation conditions nowadays are like, you know, that and less, or 60 and less, 70 and less. Just having a Trunks next to you is so easy to trigger. Like, I know there isn't many Trunks units you're going to be bringing, but the 2 that are on offer, or I know on JP there's 3, but that transforming Super Trunks ain't great. Or he's very polarizing, but the 2 that are on global in terms of LRG and Trunks and the tech transforming one, he has some very solid options. So at least we'll get Super Saiyan out with probably no issue whatsoever. I don't really see us losing that much HP, considering both Beastless Gohans have their guard right now and type advantage. Gamma 1 has his damage reduction building up as well as his guard as well. Gamma 2's fine after a few supers. Orange Piccolo is indestructible. Vegeta and Trunks are fine. Like, we're chilling, and lucky enough for us, no ceiling, nothing on this turn. We'll give them this. What's he on right now? In fact, are we getting any of the other links active? No, we're missing out on... We do have all in the family, so we do actually have some extra defense. We do have 149k defense. And again, we're not at that HP threshold, so we don't have the damage reduction. So that means after he supers, we're not going to have that much defense right now, and I do believe while he's not in Super Saiyan, and of course while you're not, you know, while your HP isn't down at 58% or less, or sorry, 70% or less. I've been saying 58%, that's his damage reduction. I mean 70% or less to get his damage reduction. Actually no, 58%, I was talking about his transformation conditions. I was right. It's the 70% or less that gets his damage reduction. While we don't have that active, and also while we're not in Super Saiyan where we have that active at all times no matter what, he is a little bare bones. He is a little bit vulnerable, of course, here with this being like one of the easiest Red Zone fights. He should be fine. Like, he's tanking double digits right now, which I kind of expect. I think if he was to be hit by a super though, without the damage reduction, he'd probably take a bit of damage. But considering his transformation conditions make it so easy to actually transform him, I'm not really too concerned about how he performs in base, but I do think that is also a possibility with him. The fact that in base, if you don't have his damage reduction active, which considering the units that can go around him, it might be quite often that you actually don't get his 58% damage reduction while in base. Like, getting down to 70% HP in Red Zone in the Shadow Dragon event isn't overly difficult. But again, when you consider the units that can go with him, you know, tech transforming Trunks, he could get caught. He's going to be stacking the whole time. Gohan himself, without it can get caught. As a Beastless Gohan has guard for 3 turns, but there's still an opportunity after that for him to be caught, depending on who you're facing. But like Vegeta and Trunks, Gamma 1, Gamma 2 for the most part, as long as he is super attacking a lot of times. You know, who else do we have in there? There's a few other units, you know, the Year 7 gods are also there, so is Tech Godku, I think Movie Heroes Piccolo's in there. Like, there's quite a few units that are gonna not allow your health to drop down to 70% or less, which isn't too bad of a condition. But in base, I can see this guy being quite vulnerable, considering, you know, as I said, there's a lot of decently tanking units that surround him. That said, at least his transformation conditions are that good, like only turn 4, and you can have 58% HP or more, with the Trunks category unit, which really isn't difficult, as you're seeing now. And then, you know, you have that 58% damage reduction guaranteed. So, of course, now we lose the defense on Super, and it's the 58% damage reduction. The 158 we start with at the start of turn, and the 58% attack and defense we get when performing a super attack. And then the key +1 and attack and defense plus 40% per Bond of Master and Disciple category ally attacking in the same turn, which right now we only have 1. So we're only on 142k defense, which really isn't a lot of defense in the slightest. But again, we do have that 58% damage reduction, and we are going to get some extra defense on Super as well. But for the most part, the main kind of outlet his tanking is going to come from will be that damage reduction. I'm really curious, especially at 55%, to see how far that is going to get him. Like I said, the basics, like the majority of the basics in the game are not going to hurt this guy, just because there's so much damage reduction. It's the supers I'm curious with. And of course, we want as many additionals as possible so we can stack, because of course now he stacks. As I said, my only thing with this unit that I would change, the rest is fine, especially once he becomes Super Saiyan. The only thing that I would change, alright, we're going to see. We're going to see. How much is he tanking right now? 235. This is what I'm talking about. Like, solely relying on just 58% damage reduction. Like, for the most part, yeah, there's 58% attack and defense on Super. But, like, not having hardly any defense and just relying on his damage reduction the entire time, it's not going to be enough. Like, at least when Zamasu transforms, he's stacking attack and defense the entire time while having 50% damage reduction. So his defense ends up not being a worry very quickly, especially with the additionals as well. Whereas future Gohan doesn't have a lot of defense. He has a lot of damage reduction, but he doesn't have enough defense to go with it. And I think my question has already been answered, considering he just took over 200k on Omega's second phase. So, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Things, super-wise, things can get quite techie for Gohan. I'm not gonna lie. Offensively, he should be very, very good, because he's constantly getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And as I said, basics, he's probably tanking the majority of basics in the game for next to nothing. Super attacks, though, as we just saw, yeah, he can take a bit of damage, which is going to be a little bit risky against some of the hardest hitting enemies in the game, and harder hitting enemies in the game in general, like your Shadow Dragon Sin. That's a lot of damage coming out the gate straight away, which, you know, you might not even get to transform into Super Saiyan, considering how much damage he starts with. Cooler Core, 1.6 mil. The current red zone on Dismal Future, like, the damage right now is up there. Like, some of the best units right now in the game, I wouldn't say they're struggling, but it is a bit of a challenge. Like, we saw it with the most recent stage yesterday with Rose and Zamasu. We saw it before that, even with just Rose's phase. So, I'm not gonna lie, I was quite shocked to see him take so much damage that quickly. I said, I guess it's to be expected. As I said, his main source of defense, his main source of coverage is that 58% damage reduction and not much defense to go with it. Which is why I said, like, if they were just going to let him just stack attack and that's it, at least give him some defense on the super attack, whether that is 30, but in this case 50 would have gone a long way, but at least 30 would have gave him something a bit extra. Like, it wouldn't have made that much of a difference, but at least it would have been less than 250. And this is the first red zone enemy we've taken Gohan into. Now, with an item active, I know some of you probably hear that and go, items. They're in the game. They're in the game. You're allowed to use them. They're made to be used. You know, it makes difficult enemies a bit easier. Now, with an item active, post-super, with all that damage reduction, he's fine. He is chilling. He is good. Because that's 58% damage reduction with a Whis active with 40% damage reduction, which in total means he has 98% damage reduction with the 158% defense at the start of turn, which is like, what, 142k? All I know is just over 140k defense, with the 58% attack and defense he's getting on super. So with an item active, Gohan will tank everything in the game, probably for next to nothing. Every super attack that hits him with a Whis active will do nothing because of the amount of damage reduction he'll have altogether. Before that though, so your no item runners or the guys that just, you know, don't like using items with units, as I said, it will get techie. He will be vulnerable. He will be caught. As I said, I was really intrigued to see how we done against the harder hitting enemies, but as I said, we're only on Red Zone Omega, and he took 250 on his second phase. Like, I know he's missing 40% attack and defense from another Bond of Master and Disciple category ally, but that defense only would have done so much. Like, he would have taken, like, what, maybe 200k instead? Yeah, it's not great. Like, with All in the Family active, which is what we get from putting him there, we do get 187k defense. Again, that's only going to make so much difference. That's only an extra, what, 50k defense? So yeah, he actually would have taken like maybe 190, 200k. As it offensively though, especially if those additional supers are popping, he's in a very good spot. I'm actually going to put him in slot 1, just because with all that damage reduction, he should be tanking fine here completely, especially because Omega has the KO super. He's not 62 before super. See, this is how low his defense is. Like, he has a lot of damage reduction, which is great, but it's only going to get him so far. So pre-super, Omega does like 4 to 420, I think like 400k to 420k on a basic. So with his defense, which we know is quite low, like 150 right there, it was like 150k. With the 58% damage reduction, he needs to super to handle basics, which obviously naturally you're going to do because he's going to be in slot 2. As I said, his best rotation is with Vegeta and Trunks in slot 1. But he is definitely a slot 2 or slot 3 unit. But I think that just kind of further proves my point that 58% damage reduction is only going to get you so far. I even thought in my head after I finished recording his showcase yesterday, I was like, am I pushing it? Have I got this completely wrong, saying that EZA Tech Transform in Trunks is probably better than him? I know mine's at 55%, but dupes are only going to make so much of a difference, considering most of his defense comes on super, and it's not a lot. And especially once he gets no defense on super, or at least on the SA effect once he's in Super Saiyan. And even then, with mine being 55%, yes, he does have the 50% chance of an additional, which of course you want popping because you want him to stack as much as possible. And then we have that guaranteed additional as long as it's androids or future saga category enemies, which majority of the game isn't. But at least the new red zone stage is, so that kind of goes in his favor. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, he can easily get you caught. I do really believe they should have give him like a defensive raise on super, or maybe let him stack both. But I mean, considering Trunks and Zamasu exist doing that, that's probably why. But they should have given, they should have let him keep the 50% defense raise on super, because unfortunately, while his damage reduction is amazing at 58%, his defense is just far too low, especially when you consider some of the hardest hitting enemies or the harder hitting enemies and how hard they actually do hit. But at least he does have the 30% chance to crit on super though. At least there is that. So damage wise, as I said, with that built in and him stacking the entire time, he could do some good damage. But so far from what I'm seeing, he could easily get you caught. Easily. As I said, with an item, nothing will harm him in the game. Do take that into consideration. I know some of you who don't like to use items or no item runners, this guy isn't going to be up there top of your list to be on a team. But I'm not gonna lie, I kind of expected a little bit more. Like, he's decent, but I kind of expected a bit more. Defensively, he's lacking a lot in Super Saiyan. But do let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you next video, guys. Take care, have a good rest of your day, and peace.